Most practice owners are missing out on the warmest evals that they'll ever book. The truth is, your happiest patients know of other people in pain, but they're not sending them your way because you never ask, which means that those referrals go to the in-network clinic down the street. So in this video, I'm going to show you the exact system that our clients use to close more plans of care without spending an additional dollar on marketing. My name is Josh Driley, and over the last few years, I've helped cash practice owners double their revenue, 4x their eval volume, and create enough demand to hire new providers. And this system that I'm about to show you has been in place for every single client that we've worked with. Now, before I share this strategy, you need to understand one of the biggest myths that most cash practice owners believe. Most practice owners think that they don't have to do anything and their patients will just send them more referrals. And while that may happen from time to time, it's not a predictable way to get more referrals. Sitting back and just hoping for more referrals is like waiting for a text back from a message that you never sent. In reality, you will get the most referrals when you ask for the most referrals. And it's very important that you have the right mindset around asking. You need to see it as a moral obligation to help more people. That means consistently asking patients that you've already helped to send their friends. And when you ask correctly, you don't sound needy or desperate. Instead, you seem like somebody who genuinely just wants to help more people get out of pain. So now that you have the right mindset around asking for referrals, let's dive into the strategies, the scripts, the frameworks that you should use to turn every happy patient into more new patients. So starting out, there are two ways to ask for referrals. There's a soft ask and a direct ask. So with a soft ask, we want to just mention to the client that they can send us patients and they'll get XYZ thing in return. And I'll get more to why it's important to give them something in return here in a little while. But the main thing here is we don't want to just ask people over and over and over again, hey, send me referrals, send me referrals, send me referrals, but we constantly want to remind them that they can send us referrals. So soft asks are essential for us to slip in so that we can ask more without sounding needy. So an example of this is just saying something along the lines of, hey Susan, we're always looking to help more people just like you. If you know anybody else who may benefit from this service, send them our way and we'll give you XYZ cool thing in return. We're not saying, hey, do you know anybody? Who do you know? We're not asking them a direct question. It's just mentioning that they can send people our way. It's a reminder. Now the next type of ask is a direct ask. And here we are actually directly asking them, who do you know who may benefit from this service? I'll talk about when to use which ask here in just a moment, but we need to implement direct asks as well, because if you don't ask somebody directly where you expect a response to their question, then they might not give you a response. If you just say, hey, if you know anybody, send them our way, that's not a question. The person is not required to answer. But when we make a direct ask, who do you know who might benefit from this? Then the person is required to answer. An example of this is, hey, we're always looking to help more people just like you. Who else do you know who may benefit from working with us? And the person has to sit there and think, who else do I actually know who I can send to Dr. Tim, Dr. Lauren, whoever it may be? Who are you watching this video? Who might that patient be able to send to you? So it's very important that we rotate between soft asks and direct asks so that we can ask as many times as possible. You're going to get more referrals from a direct ask, but you'll be surprised. Sometimes you will get referrals from a soft ask. It gives you the opportunity to keep it top of mind for your patient. So therefore, we're going to use both and we're going to rotate between them to maximize the amount of times that we can ask for a referral. The more times that you ask, the more referrals that you will get. Now, one of the things that I really want to touch on here, you'll see here, I said, who else do you know? And this is very important, the language that we use here. We always want to say, who do you know, not do you know anybody? Because do you know anybody is a yes or no question. It's easy for them to just be like, maybe I'll think of somebody and I'll send them your way later. That's easy for somebody to do just to get out of it because they don't want to think too hard about who they know. But when you ask, who do you know, it's not a yes or no question. It is a, hey, I'm asking you for some names. Do you know anybody? I want to help more people. The person then is required to stop and think, who else do I actually know that might be able to benefit from this? It's a better question that forces them to think harder. Now, they're not always going to know anybody off the top of their head, and that's when we ask to follow up with them, which I'll get to here in a little while. But never say, do you know anybody? Always say, who do you know who might benefit from this? So now you know the two different type of asks. We need to talk about when you should actually ask. When is the timing that you should say, hey, send me more referrals to your patients? So first of all, this one surprises most people, but you need to be mentioning referrals at the sale. That means when somebody pays you, the second they give you money for a plan of care and commit to that plan of care, you need to be mentioning your referral program. Now, I usually prefer to use a soft ask here because I just want to plant the seed. I want to set the expectation that I am going to ask for referrals consistently. I have a referral program. You should send people my way because I am awesome and I can help more people. That's the energy that we should be giving off at that point in time. It also reinforces the way that they think about their investment, because oftentimes people are very uncertain. Is this going to work? Is this clinician going to be able to get me out of pain? And when you have the confidence to ask for a referral at the sale, that drastically increases the amount of confidence that they have in you and your treatment ability as a clinician. So an example of this is, by the way, our business relies on helping more people like you get out of pain. Because of that, we ask for a lot of referrals. If we ever ask and you can't think of anybody, just ignore us. But when you do think of somebody, we'd love to help them and give you XYZ in return. So we're not making a direct ask here. You can make a direct ask here, but I'd rather just set the expectation, because when you say we ask for a lot of referrals, those exact words, then it doesn't get annoying when you ask for a lot of referrals. You can even make a joke about it. Like, Susan, look, we're going to ask you for a lot of referrals. Just ignore us if it gets annoying, but we want to help more people. So we're going to ask, is that okay with you? And Susan's going to say, yes, that's okay. Get her buy-in. And then all of a sudden you have the opportunity to ask this person twice as much, 3 times as much for referrals, and you have a much higher likelihood of actually getting a referral from them. So it's very important to set the expectation here. Next is wins and activation points. This is one of the most important points where you need to ask for more referrals. This is when they have their first bit of relief from their pain, or they just hit a major milestone in their plan of care. At this point, they are the happiest with you. They're super excited, so you need to ask them for a referral, because they are going to be most likely to send somebody your way then. So an example of this is Susan, super excited about the progress that we've made and this big milestone that you just hit. Of course, we're always looking to help more people like you get out of pain. Who else do you know who may benefit from this? Once again, who else do you know? People may have a lot of activation points throughout a plan of care. Maybe they're on a 24-week plan of care or something like that, where they have 4 to 6, maybe up to 10 different points where they're seeing extreme great success. These are different points where we can ask for the referral, and we can do soft ask, direct ask, and rotate between them so that we can ask more times. But ideally, we have like 3 to 4 points within a plan of care where a client is excited and we can just mention something about our referral program. Of course, you can overdo it, and you shouldn't ask a million times, but most people are sitting way too far on the side of not asking enough. And that's another mindset thing that a lot of practice owners need to get over, especially when you set the expectation correctly on the front end at the point of sale. Like I said, nobody's going to get mad at you, because when you ask correctly, it makes your patient feel like they are also helping more people get out of pain. We'll touch on that here in a moment. The third place that we need to ask is graduation or the patient leaving for good reason. So when they stop working with you, make a direct ask. It would be beautiful if every patient stayed forever, but it's not realistic and it's not going to happen that way. Or maybe somebody's moving out of town or some life event happened where they can't come to you for treatment anymore. Here, we need to ask them, as long as they've been happy with the service that you provided, which I'm sure they are, you need to ask them directly for a referral here. So an example, Susan, I'm super proud about the result that we got here, and I'm excited that you're out of pain and able to do the activities that you love. That's very important right there too. Able to do the activities that you love, insert the activity, remind them of how many great things that you guys did together. Then you go in for the ask, who else do you know dealing with a similar issue that may benefit from our treatment? Now, there's no reason why you should make a soft ask here. This is like, you're likely not going to get a chance to ask this patient for a referral again. So just leave it all out on the table and make a direct ask here and just be like, Susan, you're leaving me. I hate to see it, Susan. What are we going to do without you, Susan? But who else do you know who might be able to benefit from this? We're looking to help more people just like you, Susan. If all my clients were just like you, then I would have the perfect business in the world. So who do you know? That's the type of ask that we need to make there. You have nothing to lose. Susan's already leaving you. Let's make a very direct ask for a referral there. So these are the 3 different points that we need to ask for referrals. Now, the one rule that I want you to keep in mind when you're asking for referrals is the 3-time rule. Every patient should hear about your referral program at least 3 times. We just talked about 3 different points where you can ask. So you should be asking at all 3 of those points. At the sale, at their biggest activation points, and once they graduate or leave and stop working with you. So at minimum, every happy patient should be asked at least 3 times for a referral. And if they were not asked 3 times for a referral, then you did not ask enough. You need to ask these people more because they have other people that you could help. They're only going to send them your way if you ask. So my recommendation here would be to actually track this. If you're a solo practitioner, track this yourself in your CRM or track it with your team. Hey, every single patient, let's track in our CRM, when did we ask them for a referral? Did we ask at the point of sale? Boom, box checked. Did we ask at their biggest activation point? 3 weeks in, they started feeling relief from their knee pain. Boom, did we ask there? And then the point where they finished up their plan of care, did we ask then? And when you track all 3 of those data points and you stay very meticulous about it, then you're going to have much more success bringing in more referrals. Now, the next thing that you need to do, you need to ask for permission to follow up. If you ask somebody, no matter where it is at the point of the sale, at the greatest activation point, or at the point of graduation, you need to ask if you can follow up with them if they can't think of anybody. The truth is, the fortune is in the follow-up. If you've watched my content, you know I talk about this all the time when it comes to sales and when it comes to marketing. You need to have your follow-up process dialed in, but the same thing comes into play when it comes to asking for referrals. You ask Susan, hey Susan, who do you know? And she's like, I really can't think of anybody right now. No worries, Susan. Do you mind if I follow up in just a few days? You know, we're looking to help more people here, and this is very important to me. And if you can't think of anybody, that's totally fine, but I just want to make sure I do everything on my end to see if we can help more people. When you frame it like this and you set the expectation, once again, setting the expectation that you will follow up, first of all, is not annoying if you follow up. You just got another opportunity to ask for a referral because you asked the patient, hey, do you mind if I follow up? They gave you permission, and everybody's going to give you permission in this circumstance to follow up. Nobody's going to say, no, you can't follow up. Anyways, I digress. You get another chance to ask for a referral here. And when somebody knows that they have homework to think of somebody, they're going to be much more likely to think of somebody. And also it just shows that you're serious about what you're asking for. You want to help more people. And so you're going to follow up to see if you can help more people. And when you seem very convicted in that, the fact that you can help more people, they're going to feel the obligation. Oh shoot, I got to find somebody to send to Dr. Chad and Dr. Bill. You get the point. You need to be following up with your referral asks, and you need to be asking to follow up, set the expectation, because the follow-up only works if you actually follow up. So don't ask for permission and then forget. Like, set a note within your CRM, set a note on your calendar or whatever during your admin window. Hey, I need to follow up with Susan in order to see if she has any referrals. And also, Susan's gonna trust you more to send her friends to you when she sees that you're actually on top of it. You did what you said you were going to do. Susan's gonna be like, this is the best clinician ever. I trust him or her with my friends to help them get out of pain. So it's a win-win across the board. So now you understand the mindset, the different ways to ask, when to ask, the rules of asking about referrals. Let's talk about one of the hardest parts of this, which is actually getting your team to buy into the process. I've worked with clinics with teams of over 20 people and clinics with one single person, and I've seen one single person get more referrals in a month than the team with 20 people, which sounds crazy. The team with 20 people have way more people to ask than the team with one person, but the difference is the team with one person or two people or three people, oftentimes they have a much better system, a much better SOP when it comes to asking for referrals. And as you grow in your practice, you can't always be the person chasing down the next sale, chasing down the next referral. You need to have a system in place for your team to be able to do this for you so that you can sit back, go on a stress-free vacation with your family, clock out at 2 o'clock to go to your son's soccer practice without revenue tipping through the floor. Having systems like this where your team can follow those systems and get new patients in the door is how you achieve the freedom to do exactly that. And we talk about this a lot within the freedom framework part of our protocol, which you can watch in another video, which I'll like pop up somewhere around here. But ultimately, you need to be able to make this super actionable and simple for your team. So the first thing is be very specific with the instructions that you give to your team. When you just tell somebody to ask for more referrals, their natural next question will be how, or they won't actually ask for any more referrals because they are confused. So you need to instruct them extremely clearly on how and when to ask, which is everything that we just covered. So you can share this video with your team, but let's walk through how we actually make this super actionable. So first of all, we need to give incentives. And I talked about this earlier. We're going to give the patient incentives when we ask them for referrals. And when they send us more people, we're going to give them something in return, but we also need to give something to our team. I'm going to talk about incentives on both sides of things for your patient who's sending the referrals and your team who's asking. Naturally, as a human, we only do things that are in it for us. If something's not in it for us, if we don't see a reason to do it, we're not going to do it. So you have to have a sexy incentive that people actually want. Typically, that's a cash kickback. Maybe you're giving your team a bonus. Maybe you're giving free extra visits to your patients when they send other people. But either way, you need to make it something that somebody would actually want and would make somebody say, hey, I actually do need to refer more people. So you should have incentives for your team as well as for the patients who are sending you more referrals. The next thing when it comes to your team and getting them to buy into this process is reminding them consistently. There's a quote, I don't know who it's by, but is a very good quote in my opinion. We need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. You may tell your team ask for more referrals and you might not say it again for another 3 weeks and they're going to forget after that first week and then they're going to stop asking for referrals. This needs to be a daily, if not weekly reminder, but you should be reminding everybody multiple times per week, hey, we need to ask for more referrals. We need to help more people. Tell your clinician, great job helping this patient. Now ask her for a referral so that you can help more people. And With the amount of clinicians that I've talked to, I know how passionate you guys are about helping more people. And when you can get your team's buy-in to wanting to help more people and consistently remind them that they have the opportunity to help more people get out of pain and feel fulfillment from that, then they're going to be much more likely to ask. But you have to consistently remind them over and over and over again. And when they see how much you're reminding them, they're going to see how seriously you're taking the referral system, and they're going to start taking it more seriously. Leadership is a mirror. People are only going to hold things to the level of importance that you do. And if you're not treating the referral system very importantly by not reminding your team, then they're less likely to actually execute on it. Next thing was the KPIs. Now there's another quote, I believe this by a guy named Peter Drucker. Either way, it's famous in business. What gets measured gets managed. Think about when you have a new patient come in, you're going to track their progress week to week. You're not going to go into any specific session blind. You're going to look at what did they do last week during their session? How can we progress upon this? And we should do the exact same thing with the numbers in your business, especially asking for referrals. So my recommendation here is to track the inputs, because when we track the inputs, naturally the outputs will improve. That means track how many times you and your team are asking for referrals daily and set a goal. Hey, we need to ask for 3 referrals every single day. You see 6 to 8 patients per day, maybe even more depending on the type of practice that you run. You need to be asking at least 3 people every single day for a referral. Track it in your KPIs. On your end of day report, when you're clocking out for the day on your last patient, I need to see how many referrals that you asked for. And naturally, when somebody sees that number every single day, it reinforces them actually improving that number. It's kind of like if you're trying to lose weight, you step on the scale and you're like, okay, that's what I weigh today. And I'm no scientist here, but I have heard that there are studies that show that if you weigh yourself every single day, you will naturally either gain or lose weight, whichever your goal is, just from simply being more aware. That ties back into what gets measured gets managed. Don't quote me on that. I may be totally speaking blindly right now, but either way, I've seen it true within my own business and my own life, and I've seen it true within my clients' businesses. When they begin to actually track something, their attention goes in that direction, and then they start to think more about, how do I prove this number? It almost kind of gamifies the process. Oh shoot, I got 3 yesterday. I got 3 referrals yesterday. Let me try to get 4 today. And then all of a sudden you have a much better energy with your whole team around getting more referrals. So now you have the full referral system that you can use to start hitting record months without spending more money on ads and without hosting more workshops. Now, if there's one thing I want you to remember from this video, it is your moral obligation to ask for more referrals. Like I said earlier, you need that conviction. You need to want to help more people. And if you believe in your quality of care, then naturally you should have no problem asking for more referrals. And when you ask correctly the right way to your patients, like we talked about here, I want to help more people. Who do you know who we can help? Then your patient is also going to have conviction in your service. It's not going to seem like you're being needy, pushy, or desperate. Instead, they're going to be like, oh shoot, I have the chance to also help more people. And I see what this clinician being you, was able to help me do. I need to help them help more people. Now, beyond that, please remember that referrals are not a marketing strategy. We can control a lot of things within the system, but at the end of the day, we can't control how many referrals that we get, because we can do everything right and a patient may still not send us referrals. The strategies I laid out here are not going to make you $1 million tomorrow. They're not going to make you rich, but they will help you make progress and add additional revenue every single month so that you can start hitting record months. They will supercharge your marketing, because when we use marketing to get one patient and we can turn that one patient into 2 or 3 other patients, that is how you break through the current ceiling that you have. So you need to have a good marketing foundation and then build a good referral system, a good referral process on top of that, and your business will grow inevitably. I've also attached in the description a full SOP with everything we just covered today so that you can document this, share it with your team, and actually implement this process, not just watch this video and then forget about it. And beyond that, if your eval calendar is not as full as you would like it to be, then schedule a call with our team and we'll talk through exactly where your practice is at right now and what is holding it back from getting to where you actually want to be. The link is in the description. We always do a quick if call, which is to decide if we can help. So there's no pitch on that call. If we do believe we can help, then we will talk more in depth on a different meeting about how we can help. Either way, I look forward to seeing you there, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, and if you got value from this, you will also get value from this video right here.